Namah Shri Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine Swamine Tapaharine.
So, namaste. So, we have been discussing about rasas and their impact on the doshas. So, in the last class, we discussed also the sequence of using the rasas and how they function in very specific ways in bringing back the balance of the doshas. So, as mentioned earlier, this chapter is very foundational because it introduces the most important insights into the theoretical aspects of Ayurveda, its overall, approach. So that if this chapter is learned thoroughly, then it becomes a good foundation for the study of the rest of the Samhita. I want to repeat again that Pratitantrabhiyoge tu Purushayusha Samshaya. This is what Vagbhada says. To study even one tantra, Purushayusha Samshaya. You will exhaust your lifespan attempting to study even one textbook. So, mastering the Caraka-Saṁhitā is perhaps out of question. Chakrapani Datta, who was a great commentator of Caraka-Saṁhitā, was called as Charaka-Chaturanana. But still, he confesses in many places he's not clear about many things. So, this is like a lifelong journey, and the first chapter and this course aims to work like an entry, a portal into this amazing world of the Charaka-Saṁhitā. So even about the rasas, there is much more to discuss, which will come. There is a chapter called Atreya Bhadrakapiyam, where this is all discussed. So this is the thing, that the ideas are first expressed in a seed form, then they are elaborated. This is the style of the classical Ayurvedic Samhita. Sushruta also says at the end of chapter 1, Bijam Chikitsida Sedat Samasena Prakirtidam. I have already mentioned this in the seed form, the essence of Chikitsa. Savimsham Adhyaya Shatam, the remaining 120 chapters, of which one chapter is over, the remaining chapters, Savimsham Adhyaya Shatam Asya Vyakhya Bhavishyati, is going to be the elaboration of what is discussed in the first chapter. So that is the importance of chapter 1. But in my humble opinion, Charaka-Saṁhitā has come to us with a lot of reconstruction and loss. So I'm already seeing some scope for improvement. If you really look at Vagbhada's Sutrasthana, he tried to fill the gaps in Charaka and Sushruta and made it even better. Perhaps the original Agnivesha Tantra was different, but Charaka-Saṁhitā has been lost a lot. Like, for example, here you can see doshas are discussed first and then the gunas. If the gunas are discussed first and then you discuss doshas, we would understand it better. So sometimes I have a feeling that a few things rearranged here and there might make this more powerful. This is exactly what Vagbhada did. Sorthasya grandhabandhascha sankshepaya kramonyatha. He changed the krama of the text, making it more coherent. And so that is what Vagbhada says, that Charaka-Saṁhitā is more in the form of discussion and notes. Te artha pratyayana paraha vachane yacha nadritaha. They were somehow trying to convey the meaning. They were not writing a textbook. They were teaching. See, Charaka-Saṁhitā was the result not of wanting to write a textbook. Charaka-Saṁhitā is the codification of the teachings of a master as he taught the students. So the whole Samhita is beautiful because it is emerged out of the classroom settings. Whereas when Vagbhada wrote Ashtanga Hridayam, he was writing a textbook. That's a difference. So when we approach Charaka-Saṁhitā, it is profound, but in some places we may find, the in terms of structuring and making it better expressed, there is some scope. So with that we will continue. Swadvamle lavana vayum kashaya swadu tiktagaha jayanti pittam shleshmanam kashaya kadu tiktakaha. So you can see in Kapha, in Vata, all the rasas specifying Vata are Snigdha, and all the rasas aggravating Vata are Ruksha. But both Shita and Ushna will aggravate as well as specify Vata, depending on which guna it is associated with. If Shita is associated with Ruksha, it will aggravate Vata. If Ushna is associated with Ruksha, it will aggravate Vata. But that same Shita, if it is associated with Snigdha, it will pacify Vata. The same Ushna which is associated with Snigdha will pacify Vata. So it is not Shita or Ushna that is really determining the pacification of Vata. It is Snigdha and Ruksha. When it comes to Pitta, you can see it is different. Ushna will always aggravate Pitta, whether it is associated with Snigdha or Ruksha. Ushna will aggravate Pitta. But Shita, whether it is associated with Snigdha or Ruksha, it will pacify Pitta. So for Pitta, Shita is important. Shita and Ushna. Ushna to aggravate, Shita to pacify. For Vata, Snigdha to pacify and Ruksha to aggravate. And for Kapha, it is the opposite of Vata. Ruksha will pacify and Snigdha will aggravate. It doesn't matter whether it is Ushna or Shita. So this is the key to the whole treatment in Ayurveda. If we just know this combination, Snigdha, Ruksha, Ushna, Shita, and their permutations and combinations, because see, people who are Alpa Buddhis, they think of only these four gunas. People who have little more buddhi, they will think about Guru and Lakhu also. If they are even more brilliant, then they will also factor in Manda and Tikshna. And if they are extremely brilliant, they will take the other gunas also into consideration. Most of the time, we cannot think beyond four gunas. So, the whole, what you can call as rule of thumb, is in when doshas are, when you have identified doshic imbalance, when you choose the dravyas, keep these gunas in mind, and then it's very unlikely that we will make a mistake or get an unwanted response. So that is the concept. So I will start sharing again and we will move forward. So now we are actually coming. So what so far has been discussed is the six padarthas are there. Samanyam, Vishesham, Gunan, Dravyani, Karmacha. Oh, something went wrong. Just a second. trying to reopen that page. It's getting stuck. Oh. Yes. Okay. Yes. That page is not opening. Yes. So the next sloka for our discussion is, as I was saying, the 6 padarthas are there, and we came to know that we have to balance the gunas in order to balance the functions, and this is dravya hetukaha. Gunaya ukta dravyeshu sharireshu pite tatha sthana vrdhitshayas tasmad dehinam dravya hetu. Yes, Varsha.
A small role in previous shloka.
Yeah, you're
In
not
the
audible.
previous shloka,
You're not audible.
is it fine now, sir?
Better.
Like in the previous shloka, why is it that in the shloka which is given in the back, Pitta is first mentioned? Like normally the order that we are following is Pata,
Your voice is
but
not
in the
so clear, Varsha. I'm not able to clearly understand what you're saying.
I'll type in the chat box.
Yeah, can you repeat what you said just now?
Sir, I think she said she'll type in the chat box.
Okay, fine. Please do. See that shloka in bracket itself means it is a prakshipta shloka. Only Yogindranath Sen is accepting this version. So let us not break our heads about what somebody else inserted. Okay, it is not supposed to be authentic. That is why it is put in bracket. Chakrapani doesn't comment on this. This is accepted only by Yogindranath Sen. So it appears to be added earlier, and we can try to find some reason for mentioning this first. One of the reasons could be, sometimes when they put a certain order or this thing, it is for the ease of versification. If you want to create a shloka, because I've done a few things also myself, but if you are not such a fluent writer in Sanskrit, it's very difficult. We have to do adjustments. We have to make the vritta correct. They may have chosen, that is one reason. If that is not the reason, then we have to look at other. Sometimes it's also purposefully done. Since this is a prakshipta sloka, it may also reflect that person's lack of, that itself is an indication that it may be a prakshipta sloka, because you are breaking the logic of the previous verse, where Vayu, Pitta and Kapha are mentioned in order. Here it becomes Pitta, Kapha and Vata. Even if you were saying that it was reverse order, Kapha should have been mentioned first. See, Swadvamla Lavana Shleshma. Then if you put that first, Yeah, Sanjay, sir, I will come back to that. So is that clear, Varsha? Yes. Four guna combinations means for Vata, Ruksha guna is the cause of derangement. Whether it is whatever other guna it is associated with, it's a very important finding. So if you find Ruksha guna, then it is a no for Vata. It doesn't matter what other gunas are there. That is what we learned from this narration. Tatra ruksho lakushida karasukshmas chalonil. Tatra ruksha is the key thing. So even if ruksha guna is associated with ushna, it's still harmful for vata. If ruksha guna is associated with manda, it is still harmful for guna. So you have to, the single determining factor amongst all the other gunas only modify the impact of ruksha guna. If ruksha guna is associated with manda, it will still disturb vata, but very slowly. If ruksha guna is associated with tikshna, it will disturb vata very quickly. That's the only difference. But ruksha guna will always disturb vata. It's not so for other gunas. Now, manda guna, if it is associated with snigdha guna, it will pacify. Ruksha guna can never pacify vata. And snigdha guna usually can only pacify vata, it doesn't aggravate directly. Except snigdha guna, there is an exception. Snigdha guna can disturb vata by creating blockage. Dhadu Kshayagarayur Kupyatyati Nishevitaihi, or by Margavarodha. So snigdha guna is sometimes a problem for vata if it causes margarodha. Snigdha guna can cause margarodha. Through margarodha it can. So if there is ama in the system, that is why in vata vyadhi chikitsa it is told kevalam nirupastambham snehairada upajaret. Before using snigdha guna to pacify vayu, we have to make sure there is no ama in the system. If it is there, then that snigdha guna will further cause blockage of vata. So ruksha guna is a cause of derangement for vata, and snigdha guna is the cause of pacification. So if there is blockage, we must always use ushna along with snigdha, and if there is no blockage, then only you can use shita and snigdha. So madhurya rasa is given at the end for vata pacification. Then for pitta, Shita is the Shita guna is the Ushna guna is the cause of derangement. And Shita guna is the cause of pacification. Now, whatever other gunas associate, Ushna will always cause aggravation of Pitta. Whatever other gunas associate, Shita will always cause pacification. But the modality of how Shita guna impacts Pitta will be reduced depending on will be modified according to the involvement of the other gunas. And in the case of Kapha, it's just the opposite of Vata. Snigdha guna will aggravate. Whatever it is used to, even with Ushna, Snigdha guna will aggravate Kapha, and Ruksha will specify. Even with Shita Virya, Ruksha will specify Vata. Sorry, Kapha. So this is a very fundamental concept that we use in treatment.
Then, what is the example of this each case? Suppose I want to reduce the kapha.
Yeah,
Then, what type of ruksha should I take to reduce the kapha?
that
Is
depends.
there?
That depends on so many factors. It is not one substance. We can reduce kapha's ruksha guna by so many dravyas, depending on the context, depending on where the kapha is disturbed. That is a very big, thing to understand. I will slowly explain all that because we have to study about dravyas. Now, if I tell here, we are jumping a little forward. We are just beginning with the basics. We are discussing the alphabets of Ayurveda. So it will take a little time to form the sentences and apply. So different medicines are used in Ayurveda for inducing Ruksha Guna. For example, if we are having bronchial asthma and there is a lot of phlegm in the chest, one sand is used actually. Even sand is used to cause drying up of the kapha. Sandbag is heated and placed on the chest on both sides. Then there are herbs that are used, like Kola Kulathadi is a particular churna which is very drying and ushna. Triphala is drying and shita. So Triphala is used when pitta, kapha is associated with pitta. When kapha is associated with ama, then kola, kulathadi, such medicines are used. But now the problem is you need to study and understand kola, kulathadi, and also some dravya guna has to be studied first. Without that, if I explain, it will not make sense. So it is so many choices are there. Ayurveda is all about computation of permutations and combinations and taking the specific dravya to use. But all of them will be ruksha. Now, what I have understood is that in Ayurvedic practice, if these decisions are correct, you will still get some result. If you are always treating kapha with ruksha guna, whatever is available, some result will be there. It may not be exact. If you choose the exact drug, the result will be dramatic. But even without the exact drug, if your principle of treatment is correct, some result will be there. So using ruksha for kapha is a principle of treatment. Choosing what dravya should be used, of what ruksha that we should use it. See, it is like paint. You have yellow, but so many shades of yellow are there. All of them are yellow. But there is lemon yellow, there is sunset yellow, there is mango yellow, so many colors are there. Yes. So that is in Avarana we are telling apanam tu adho nayet, udvanam urdhvam nayet. So there are medicines which do that. Anulomana treatment is to bring Vayu back into its normal direction. Urdhva can again become Athogami. Yes, in many diseases, this condition is called Udavartam. The Vata, Apana Vata is going in an upward direction. It can cause blood pressure, migraines. So in conditions where people have migraine, we check also whether it is due to Apana Vata. And we have to correct that Apana Vata. Sometimes all migraines are not due to Apana. So please take all this very carefully. Don't jump to conclusions. Good clinical assessment is necessary before starting treatment, because I discussed about apana and migraine. Ripi 67, 68 is the sloka where the dravyas are classified. We are just opening that now. Kinchit dosha prabhava bhedena Dravya Bhedaha. There are many classifications of Dravya. So what you are referring to as 48 is Dravya Sangraha. Khadinyatma Manakalo Dishascha Dravya Sangraha. So that's not Dravya Vargigaran, that is enumeration of the Dravyas. Enumeration is different from classification. So this verse number 48 is what you call as enumeration. Are you able to follow? Enumeration means listing the total number of dravyas. Classification means categorizing into groups. So verse number 47 is enumeration of the dravyas. And half of that is classification also. Chetana and Achetana. That is a classification. So dravyas are classified in many ways. So there is both 48.1 is enumeration. Khadinyatma Manakalo Dishascha Dravya Sangraha. 48.2 is classification. So because it is classified once, classification into living and non-living. Then we have in 67 Prabhava Vedena Dravya Vargigaranam. Prabhava Bhedena Dravya Bheda. Then Utpatti Bhedena. So many classifications are there. Is that clear, Ripi?
Yes, sir. It's clear now.
Okay. So you have to say, yes, Kalyana Krishnan sir. See, what you can see is, if you just keep milk and if it goes through various stages, after curd becomes spoiled, then you can see the other rasas, but you cannot taste it. It becomes katu, then it becomes tikta and kashaya. Even bitterness will come if the curd gets spoiled. So it is a process. All substances may not go through all these 6 distinct stages and all of them may not be perceptible. But our rishis found that when a madhura substance is acted upon by heat, which is what causes the degradation. If you keep milk in the refrigerator, it remains cold, is it not? And then it retains its sweetness. But eventually the heat will overpower it and it becomes sour. Then you can actually feel a little salineness also, but not like the salt that you see in the sea. That salineness comes, then the Katurasa comes. So they observed it very, very carefully. That is the sensory observation powers of our rishis. And they found that it is in this sequence that you can see even when it goes to curd into buttermilk, almost many rasas are there in buttermilk. That is why freshly taken buttermilk is said to be Tridoshaharam. Kashaya rasa is there in buttermilk. Have you noticed? If you take buttermilk, your mouth will become dry. Buttermilk is drying. It has that ability. It has got some Kashaya rasatum also. So just by observing what changes are happening to something like milk, in many substances, these complete changes don't happen. Like when a mango is rotting, when an apple is rotting, definitely it is going to, the Kashayatvam, but always Kadurasa may not manifest. That depends on its Bhuta Kadana. But there are 6 stages of transformation as a substance becomes, undergoes the transformation through the action of heat. A sweet tasting, a Madhura Rasa substance will eventually become Kashaya Rasa. So that change in Rasa indicates a change in chemistry. Today what has happened is, in olden days, they didn't look at the chemistry, they looked at the rasas. They were more subjective. They had very powerful sense perceptions. It's like today a dog is smelling to find somebody, whereas we are looking at so many chemical analysis, DNA analysis to identify a person. A dog just smelling will identify. Now, which is better? DNA analysis costs so much, requires so much of equipment. You make a dog to smell and he will catch the culprit. Have you not seen it? How is it possible? Their sensory perceptions are very developed. We have lost that. That's why we need chemistry today. Today we understand I will do an HPTLC or I will do a LCMS to find out what chemical changes have happened. Right? But our acharyas, what they did, they just tasted and said, oh, this is changed. Rasa parinama has happened, means the chemistry has changed. And they are telling that we are having actually the capability to distinguish 63 combinations of rasas. 6 rasas combined in 63 ways. All 6 rasas, dravyas which are Shad Rasamaya, all the 6 rasas are present. We cannot even identify. You know, Amalaki has how many rasas? Which rasa is missing in Amalaki? How many rasas are there in Amalaki? Amla, 5. Which rasa is missing? Lavana, yes. But how many can you taste? How many are you actually tasting? Lavana is missing, right? But tell me frankly, how many tastes were you able to distinguish in Amalaki? That shows Acharyas have told 5 are there. Are you able to taste all the 5? Have you tasted Katurasa in Amla? Very difficult. Sour taste and Kashaya taste are very easy to. Sour taste is because if you bite one Amalaki, your eyes will become small because of the Amla Rasa. After that, you will feel the Kashaya Rasa. Tikta Rasa, if you are very, very careful, you can also get a little bit of Tikta Rasa. Beyond that, you cannot. Are you able to taste Madhura Rasa in Amalaki?
I think with some water or something when you press.
Yes, yes, yes. After you chew the Amalaki and if you drink water, you will feel the Madhura Rasa. But what is very difficult to identify, I have asked so many people, have you ever been who has tasted pungent? Salt makes Amalaki tasty, that is true, because it masks the other unwanted tastes. Salt is a taste maker. That is why without Lamana Rasa, there is no taste. Lavana Rasa brings taste to any food. Little bit of salt, a pinch of salt, and then, you know, in our snacks and everything, they put a little bit of salt to make it tasty. So it's a taste maker.
But that's an external salt we put. It's not the salt which is transformed from the rasa which is there after process.
It's external salt. Salt is very usually we don't find the salty taste. There is. Do you know which another 5 rasa dravya is there? Another dravya which has got 5 rasas, one of which is lavana. Again, we cannot taste it. It is said, our acharyas have said it is there. So we are believing it. Can you say? See, in Amalaki is under the Amla Rasa Varga. Amlam Sarvam Pitta Jananam. Dadi Mamala Gadrude. So all the it is Amla Rasa Dravya. Now there is a Katu Rasa Dravya which is having Lavana Rasa. Anybody knows? Lashana, very good, Dr. Ashwini. So which rasa is missing in Lashana? Which rasa? So these are all things that we have to learn. Many of us don't even know that there are more than one taste. We are all thinking one taste only. This is pungent, this is sour, this is not madhura, it is amla rasa, which is missing in amlaki, in Lashana. But has anybody tasted garlic? Will anybody say it is salty? Unless you make a pickle out of it. It is not salty, it is very pungent. How many rasas were? So this you have to also introspect and find out how many rasas you are able to perceive. There are shadrasa dravyas are there. I will send you a table after this class about the rasa combinations. Okay. It might be of interest to you with examples of which are the dravyas, and you can think about it. So, we are incapable of identifying more than one or two tastes. Our tongue has lost all that sensitivity. But our acharyas, they found that out and they created this knowledge for us. Today, what we can do, maybe use an electronic tongue or do some chemical studies and see whether there are correlations. So that's a research that has just begun in the last some years. So many researchers have to work on many of these things. It's not possible for one or two people to, fill all these knowledge gaps. That would be a good way to bridge modern scientific knowledge and Ayurvedic knowledge. So I hope this is all clear. Can we move forward?
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. So now the classification is being done. Classification of the dravyas. So Ripi was also put our attention to the fact that classification is discussed in multiple places. And this is one. And this is a classification based on pharmacological or how the dravya impacts the body. Kinchit dosha prashamanam, kinchit dhatu pradushanam, swastha vrittau madam kinchit trividham dravyam uchyate. So if you meet any dravya, ask this question: what are you? Are you going to pacify my doshas, or are you going to disturb my dhatus? Vagbada simplifies it. Shamanam kopanam swasthahitam dravyam iti tritha. See what Charaka took two verses to explain, Vagbada explains in one half. Shamanam kopanam swasthahitam dravyam iti tritha. Here he uses two words. Kinchid dosha prashamanam, kinchid dhatu pradushanam, swasthavrittau matam kinchid trividham dravyam uchyate. So what are these three things? Any idea? What could these three be? If you look at it in another way, it's so simple, but they have used, Charaka has used, it's like an indirect, communication here. We know that we also classify substances around us into three, depending on their utility. Anybody can guess what these three things mean? There are very simple terms with which we can
So
replace.
some dravyas can harm and some dravyas can be useful for us, and some can be for the equilibrium of our body.
Yeah,
Equilibrium.
true. That is true. But what do you call them? What do you call substances that harm us?
Um, Dosha it
Don't
will
Poison.
common
harm
man,
the dhatu.
Poison.
common language,
Toxin.
common language. Toxins, poison. That's the correct thing. Poison.
Poisonous.
Dhatu pradushanam is poison. So it's a very simple but very profound classification is being explained here. Some substances are poisons, beware. And what is a better term for kinchit dosha prasavanam? If dhatu pradushanam is poison, what is dosha prashamanam? Not pacifier. There's some other good medicine. Very good. Shreyas is really hitting goals. 2 goals now. Poison and medicine. Now you must hit the third one also. What do you call then swasthavrittau madam kinchit? What would you call that?
Sir, Pothyam.
Ahara, yes. Food, medicine, and poison. It's very simple. See, sometimes we miss this simple point because the Acharya has used, a technical narrative. What Charaka is trying to tell us is that what is medicine is that which balances the doshas. That is what we can call as medicine. That which disturbs or damages the dhatus is a toxin or a poison. And that which maintains your health, swastha vrittam, is food. So you must eat food to maintain your health. You must take medicine to cure yourself. And you must avoid poisons if you don't want to die. So in this way, every substance in the world is evaluated for its food value. Now, I want to ask another question. Do you think this is a compartmentalized classification? Can you classify everything strictly into food, medicine, and poison? Or are there overlaps?
Sir, it is not possible. It is flexible, not rigid.
Right, very good. Because there are some foods that can also work as medicine, and some medicines are also foods. That's why today we have nutraceuticals, functional foods, food supplements. They all are coming in the range between food and medicine. So, food and medicine, medicine and poison. Some poisons can also be medicine, and some medicines can also. So, it is not a, it is a continuum. The food, medicine, poison classification is a continuum. So we can say that this sloka also means that sometimes the same thing, the same substance may behave in 3 ways. Do you agree? The same substance may at some times be dosha pacifying, sometimes dhatu disturbing, and sometimes nourishing.
It may be, sir.
Yes, exactly. So water can be nourishing, water can be medicine, and water can also be poison. So water toxicity is known. Many people today are getting water toxicity because they think drinking a lot of water is good. Over drinking water is also harmful. So everything in the world has these 3 potentials. So we cannot, Ayurveda doesn't classify everything and put them into, okay, this is always food, this is always medicine, this is always poison. We have to understand how the same substance, it is our skill, our knowledge that enables us to use any substance in the world as either medicine or poison, or even as food. So that point is conveyed here. That is why in Ayurveda we say, Jagatyeva manaushadham na vidyade kinchit vashan nanartha yogeho. Because everything can be used in different ways. Vashan nanartha yogeho. Na kinchit anaushadham. There is nothing which is anaushadham. Everything can be. Yes, it is individual based and it is very context based, even for the same individual. It's not just individual based. For the same individual, what is nectar in the morning may become poison in the night. What is nectar in summer may become poison in winter. For the same individual. So it's not, yes. So that is the concept that is explained here. Is that clear? So if it is clear, we can move on now to again another classification of dravyas, and you can see the richness of Ayurvedic farming. Yes, Sumitra?
Sir, so the term kinchit that he has used, is it to give that suchana that it is also overlapping with each other? Or how do we interpret?
I am tempted to interpret it that way because when I'm seeing the way substances are used across the text very contextually, hitahitve ekanda niyamo smada nishchitaha. They say desha kala, according to that, the same dravya may behave in different ways.
Okay.
So, yes, there is generally, see, we cannot, it is not such a fluid thing also that suddenly food becomes, food we can take in large quantities, that is true. But some foods we take also in small quantities. So we cannot generalize that. Madhura prayam annam. So the carbohydrates, everything that we use in food is not taken in the same quantity. This is called as, there is Ashtahara Kalpana. So there, one of the items is the quantity of the food, the total quantity and individual quantity. So every food also cannot be taken in very large quantity. Generally, some of the foods can be taken in large quantity. And that is based on guru and lakhutva, which today we can say it's based on calories. So food can be taken in large quantities, but that is a problem today. Because of the high calorie foods, people are putting on a lot of weight. So that is a long-term toxicity, is it not? So what Ayurveda has told is nityam mitahara vihara sevi. Taking food in the right quantity. Even food has, what I would say is that food we have a tendency to take more quantity because of our taste and uncontrollable appetite. And because we don't get any immediate effects, we are not able to control it also. We keep eating. So that is a limitation. But Ayurveda has never told. Matrashi sarvakalam syat. This is what acharyas have said. Matrashi sarvakalam syat. Because there is a tendency to overeat. Medicines, we don't have to give a warning like that. Nobody will overeat medicines. Oh, come on, give me more kashayam. Let me drink. Nobody will do that. It is not like Arishtams, that problem is there. I know many people in their family, when they don't get liquor from their regular stock, they will buy Arishtams and keep. I've seen that happening because it's alcohol. It's no substitute for the real one, but at least it's a plan B sometimes. Because Arishtam and Madhyam, the difference is Arishtam doesn't usually cause mada. Arishtasavas cannot cause mada in the up to even a dose. But other bad effects of alcohol can still be there if you take it in large quantities. So even ahara, medicines in Ayurveda, medicines are also sometimes taken in large quantities. That distinction is not very. So if you look at Snehapana, we give in very large quantities. Otherwise, it is not effective. Some rasayana lehyas we give in large quantities. So we cannot say that matra alone is there. In ahara, we are regulating the matra of the ahara. So matrashitiyam, there is one chapter in Caraka-Saṁhitā, he says that matrashitiyam is about dinacharya, but he has given the word matrashitiyam, which he says all your dinacharya is useless if you are not controlling the quantity of food that you eat. Today people are not controlling the quantity of food that they are eating, and then they are going for gym, they are doing all other things. But what Charaka says is that if you are not a matrashi, then whatever other things you do in your dinacharya, it is not going to. So this is very, very, very important and interesting in the way the chapters have been structured, the way the chapters have been named. And Vagbada tells us so beautifully, Matrashi sarvakalam syad, Matrahyagne pravartika. And then Gurunam ardha sauhityam laghunam nati triptata. Never eat to the point where you get tripti. So that should not be the end point of eating. Tripti means I cannot eat anymore. Up to that point you are eating. No, this is very dangerous. Japanese are very healthy because they have a concept of just filling half their stomach, not being satisfied with the food that they say if you eat up to the point of satiety or satisfaction, then it is unhealthy. So in food, we have to exercise self-control and make sure we are eating small quantities. So we have big problems which are said to in Ayurveda to be the cause of all diseases. Samashanam, Adhyashanam and Vishamashanam. Samashanam is eating hita ahita aharas together. Saying, okay, I have eaten some very good, nice pathya. Now let me also balance it with some apathya food. This is harmful. It doesn't help. Adhyasanam, before the previous meal is digested, again and again eating, which is very common today. People are eating 24 hours. You know, some packet is kept near. So this is also overeating. So that, and I see modern medicines which are toxins, they are taken in small quantities, but not always Ayurvedic medicines. Some Ayurvedic medicines are, that is a spectrum. Like we have medicines which we administer as panakas and paniyam, shadanga paniyam. They are advised to be drunk in large quantities. Continuously you have to drink. So I hope that point is clear. But modern drugs are, as I told earlier also, they are toxins and their dose is titrated to the point where toxic effects are minimal and therapeutic effects are high. So if there is a slight change in the dosage, then it can be fatal. So that kind of medicines, when Visha is used as medicine, Nishevyamana Tilasho Vishamapya Amrita. So for when using Visha as medicine, the dose has to be minute. The other medicines, generally there is a very fixed dosage. Of course, we don't eat medicines like we eat food, of course. But some rasayana, snehapana, all those things. Okay, so I hope I explained that. Now we are coming to the further classification of dravyas. Tat punas trividham proktam jangama udbhida parthivam madhuni gorasa pittam. So see, first dravya was classified into Sendriyam, Chetanam Dravyam, Nirindriyam, Achetanam. Then Kinchit Dosha Prashamanam, Kinchit Dhadu Pradushanam, Swastha Vitta Hidam Kinchit. So that is another classification. Now, Tat Punas Trividham Proktam Jangama Udbhida Parthiva. So again, this is showing that Ayurveda says that dravyas we can use from any sources, living, non-living. What is good for the doshas, what is bad for the dhatus, what is swasthavrita hidam, everything is there in this universe. So animals are also used, and in fact, animal sources are mentioned first. That is a question. Why Jangama is mentioned first? Jangama Udbhida Parthiva. Any idea? Can anybody say why Jangama is mentioned
More
first?
active. Sir, more active.
More active? No, I'm asking because generally people say Ayurveda is vegetarian, it's better. So should not have vegetarian things should be mentioned first. That's my question. Why they are starting with animal, plant and mineral? Animal is easy to digest? No. There are theories which say that the human gut is not designed to eat or digest meat. Our teeth, if you look at it, it's not a carnivorous teeth. You go and bite like Dracula and drink blood or tear the meat. Animal products. No. It is just that the hierarchy of creation is mentioned here. Jangama is the higher than Sthavara, and Parthiva is lower than Sthavara. So from the earth, the plants, and from the plants, the animals. So only the sequence of evolution is respected here. It doesn't mean that Ayurveda gives more importance to animal products. Just says the sources around us, the entire biodiversity. That is what this verse is telling. Yes, there is a verse in our Shastras which say, Ahastani sahastanam, apadani chatushpadam, Phalguni tatra mahatam, jivo jivasya jivanam. So, ahastani sahastana. Those which do not have hands become prey to those with hands. Apadani chatushpadam. Those which do not have feet are eaten by those with feet. Phalguni tatra mahatam. The smaller is eaten by the bigger. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One form of life is food for another form. So this is a description of the food chain and food web in our ancient Shastras. Do you know how many species are there projected in the world? Anybody has any idea? How many species? Yes. Thank you, Basavaraju. Does anybody know how many species are there? Today, science. 84 lakh is the Indian concept. I'm asking the modern concept. How many species? Very good, repeat. 8.7 million is a computational estimate. And you can see how close this is to 84 lakh, which is 8.4 million. Our yogis estimated that there are 8.4 million. And today scientists are estimating that. So I will show you that slide here. See, scientists have estimated that there are around 8.7 million species of plants and animals in existence. Only 1.2 million have been identified. That means millions of other organisms remain a complete mystery. And how did our ancient yogis estimate so close? This is a very complex algorithm they have used to estimate the total species. And it has come to 8.7. It's amazingly close to the ancient yogi concept of 84 lakh yonis, which means 8.4 million yonis. Yoni means a species. So, what is described here is the biodiversity. That the entire biodiversity can be used as medicine, food, or they can also serve as poison. Tat punas trivitham proktam jangama udbhida parthivam. Jangama is animal, that which is moving. Audbhidam is the plant, sthavara, and parthivam is the minerals. So there is nothing that is not medicinal. I will conclude with a verse from Sushruta when he says, Nadishu, Shaileshu, Sarassu Chapi, Vanyeshu, Aranyeshu, Tathashrameshu, Sarvatra Sarva Parimargidavya, Sarvatra Bhumirhi, Vasunithate. And in Kumarasambhavam, it's mentioned, Anantaratna Prabhavasya Yasya, Himamna Saubhagya Vilopi Jadam. Eko hi dosho gunasannipate nimajjadindoho kiraneshvivankaha. So what Sushruta is saying is, Nadishu, search in the rivers. Shaileshu, search in the mountains. Sarassu Chavi, go and dive into the lakes. Vanyeshu, Aranyeshu, Tathashrameshu. Go to all the forests, all the biodiversity spots. Keep searching. Sarvatra Sarvaha Parimargidavya. Everywhere you have to search. Sarvatra bhumirhi vasuni dhatte. This earth is bestowing us riches inch by inch, everywhere it is there. This is the beauty of the Ayurvedic perception of biodiversity. And we have worshipped this biodiversity. And that is what you see in Kumara-Sambhava. Ananta Ratna Prabhavasya Yasya. This Himalaya is Ananta Ratna Prabhava. And don't blame the snow that is capping the Himalayas. Himamna Saubhagya Vilopi Jadam. That Hima is not bringing any, it does not reduce its richness in any way. Eko hi dosho. Gunasannipate. Just that one fault in a place which in the Himalaya, which has so many good qualities, that one blemish, nimajjati, it just disappears. Indoho kiranesh vibhag. Even the moon has a blemish, but in the beauty of its moonlight, that blemish nobody notices. Similarly, so this is Mother Earth. Everywhere, there will be there is nothing in the world which is perfect. Sarvarambha hi doshena dhumena agniriva avrita. This is what Bhagavad Gita Krishna also says. Every action, everything in this world, doshena dhumena agniriva avrita. Just like when there is fire, there is a little bit of smoke. There is something. So with that limitation, look at the riches and rejoice and use all the resources that we have. And now we will show in the next class, we will continue how Ayurveda is using the richness of these resources to create medicines. How everything under the sun can be used to create a rich pharmacopoeia. That is the whole history of Ayurveda. This exploration and understanding of biodiversity and its utilization in a sustainable manner. That is very, very important. So we'll continue tomorrow.
Sir, one question.
Yes.
Sir, I want to know that occasionally we get the word tantro.
Yes.
Actually, I have no relation clearly what is tantras.
Tantra is coming from the word, in the context of text. Ayurveda is called also Tantra. Caraka-Saṁhitā says it's a Tantra. Agnivesa's first work was called as Tantra. Many meanings are there. But here, see, Tantra is also a discipline like Veda. The Tantric tradition is there. That is different. We don't have time to go into the details. But Tantra means Tanu Sivane, it's Tantri, like a thread. In the context of a text, it is a very systematic exposition where a multitude of ideas and information has been sewn together. Like, you take the cotton and you make it into thread, and then you weave it into a beautiful cloth and stitch it. What happens? Every single thread, contributes and gives it a good. So Tantra is something like that. All the scattered ideas, information from multiple sources are brought together and woven together into a beautiful book. That is what one of the meaning of Tantra is, especially as a textbook. That is what it means. That is why in Ayurveda we have Tantra Yuktayaha. Artha Yojana, Vakya Yojana cha. Tantra is a place where the arthas are woven. Artha is like the cotton. And Vakya is like the thread. So just like from the cotton we create the thread, from the Artha we create the Vakya of the thread. And then by bringing all these Vakyas together, we weave this beautiful Grantha.
Guruji, dhanyavad.
And if we have time, we will discuss about the other meanings of Tantra in a future class. Now I have to leave. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
ॐ संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। रामकृष्णाय